My first ever board game convention. What was it like? You're about to find out. What's happening, guys? Welcome back to Table Talk, a board game channel talking about what board games you should be bringing to your table. I'm Andrew, and today we're talking about my first board game convention experience ever. It was Gen Con. So here is my Gen Con wrap-up of the highlights, the moments, and the experience of my first ever convention of board games. I jumped straight in the deep end. I skipped all other conventions, went to the biggest one in the world, I think. And it was a lot. It was overwhelming, but in all the best ways. So let's recap my Gen Con experience. Let's get into it. So I start off the day, I'm driving up to Indianapolis, and it's crazy because the entire city was packed out for Gen Con. I didn't realize how big this thing was or how many board gamers there were. Because like streets on streets are packed. You can't even get parking or hotels. I parked like a minute away and had to pay a ton of money to do it because there's just so many board gamers. So walking up, there's this massive convention center. I'm like, is this all for board games? I'm walking through the halls. I got lost. There's so many rooms and halls about board games. I literally got lost. I was like, I'm just trying to get a badge. But luckily, everyone's so nice. I got pointed out where to get one. I waited in a long line. Pro tip, get your badge ahead of time. I realized that. And as I'm standing there, I'm just like, oh my goodness, there's so many people that like board games. You know, sometimes you can feel like it's like a niche hobby that not that many people are into, but there's tons and tons of people that are into board games. And so I was excited. I walk into the hall, and it's like Disneyland for board games. Like, there's a giant Everdell tree, there's a monster truck, there's an actual USPS mail truck, there's a giant legendary The Matrix simulator room thing, there's just like posters and signage everywhere, there's board games and glass exhibits like a museum just showing off how cool they are, there's like side rooms, there's people demoing games, buying games, just showing off concepts for new games. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm in way over my head. There's a map just to get around. I don't know what I'm doing. I was going to this thing practically blind. Luckily, I found Max and Doolin from Table Knots who were like, you can hang with us for the day. I came by myself, and I'm just grateful to them. You should check out their channel. They're just dope guys. Just genuine, fun, awesome guys to hang out with. And it just meant the world to me hanging out with them for the day and kind of just doing whatever they were doing, which was great. So, what do? Well, we walk around, we go to the Ivy Games booth, which Max and Doolin love. They have really cool looking games, and I was like, ooh, I really want to check out Veiled Fate now. Max had talked about it, I saw it. This social deduction strategy Viking type game. I got to see it on the table, which was cool. Then Max had all the Mythic Mischief stuff. I was like, that's cool. I got to see all that they had bought because they went like right when the doors opened. So Doolin got Ahoy, which is Leader Games, not even out yet, like a pirate game, Final Girl. So I got to kind of live vicariously through all the games they had because I went in with a really tight budget. I wasn't really planning to buy much. So it was kind of cool seeing everything they bought and kind of experience that kind of through them. So I was like, I'm glad you guys are buying all these cool games we can try. And so we just kind of walked around the halls. We got to meet designers and like these people whose videos I've watched before, and it was just so cool. Like, we were at Plaid Hat, and there's Jerry Hawthorne, who made all these awesome storytelling games, some of which I've played, some of which are like at the top of my wish list. And he's just a normal guy talking with us. And Doolin was like, you're incredible, thank you for making these games. And I was like, pretty much retweet, I would say the same things. But it's kind of like nervous. It's like you've played these people's games, and they're just like normal people, you know, you get to meet. And just everyone was so nice. That was my takeaway. Everyone's so nice. They're just normal people, and they're just so welcoming. And so then it was like we're walking around, we're seeing all the exhibits, and, you know, Spin Master's there, and CMON, and the Dice Tower, and Legendary Upper Deck, and all this stuff. And it's like, whoa. So then they're like, let's go to the Consignment Store. And I'm like, cool. And there's just massive lines. So I'm like, what could this be that everyone's waiting in line for? While we're waiting, giant balloon dragon, 2 stories tall. You can like break it for charity. Then a giant card city, like an entire like massive lobby wide. And like, again, you can like throw coins at it for charity from the top floor. This thing's massive. People are spending hours building these card structures. Awesome. And so we're waiting in line, but there's like so much to see and talk about. And we get in the consignment store, and it is like ultra extreme mega goodwill of board games. There's like rare games, old games, and just crazy good prices. And like I was about to go on a spending spree, and I was like, remember your budget. So I just got 2 things: a rare expansion to Zombicide 2nd Edition, which I've always wanted, and Unfair, which I actually bought because of Thinker Themer's review. Awesome channel, check them out. Australian, really cool, really nice people, and I know that because we met them. I like bought their game, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're hanging out with you guys. Amy and Maggie, just the sweetest, most nice people, and just so welcoming. Got to hang out with them, and I'm like, I've watched some of your videos. This is so cool. And there was like an auction for like old classic games. I didn't do that, but like it looked cool. And then we're like, man, we're hungry. Turns out there's food truck street, just streets of food trucks. Just like lobster and Cajun and pizza. And we went to a cocktail sauce shrimp place that was like famous, Harry and Izzy's, St. Elmo's. And Amy and Maggie, they sound so cool and nice with their Australian accents. They're like, oh, this is wonderful, you should try it. And I'm like, we gotta try it now. So we try it, me, Max, and Doolin. I like dunk this thing in the cocktail sauce. I mean, shrimp and cocktail sauce. And they're like, oh, that's a bit much. And I'm like, it's fine. I just jam this thing. And I'm not kidding you. I think I visibly cried in front of these people. And I also, like, because my entire nasal passages were just cleared. My sinuses, everything was cleared out. It was so hot, but, like, incredible tasting. So I took it a little bit lighter. That was great. Hung out with them. And then we went back in. And it was cool. And then we checked out more stuff. And just person after person that we got to meet. And just people that were just so nice and cool. Randomly met the inventor of Bop It because Max and Doolin were promoting a Kickstarter for him. He's dope. He's wearing a Bop It gold chain. And I was like, I checked this off my bucket list. I didn't even know I wanted to. Meet the inventor of Bop It. Play that growing up. And we just met all these people, got to see even more and more games. Then we met Michelle and Jim from Second Star to the Left. And they're the nicest people. Michelle is hilarious. And Jim was so nice, bought us all drinks. I was like, I don't even want anything. And I'm pretty sure he got me like 2 drinks. Just the nicest people. And then we got to try Mythic Mischief. And Michelle got like all the expansions because Max had them all but put them in his car. But like we were blinged out. We had the table and I was psyched. And Max has hyped this game up. I don't even really like abstract games. I want to. But there's just something about them. They're like so strategic and zero luck and a lot of times not much theme. That I just can't get into them, but this one, I was like, this is going to be the one that gets me, and it did. I love Mythic Mischief. It's on my wish list now. Incredible production. It's like you're at like Monster Hogwarts, chucking people over bookshelves and trying to avoid a librarian. I don't know, but it's great. And so Max is teaching the game. He's on my team versus Doolin and Michelle. They're talking crap like nobody's business. And me and Max are getting trashed right now. Like, it was like 6 points to 1, and you're playing at 10. And Max is like, this is not good, Andrew. And I was like, I know, because Max is the one that knows this game, and I'm on his team. So Max's back is like breaking right now, carrying me. And I'm like, I'm the one weighing this team down, because we're doing terrible. But we come back, and we actually won the game. I'm like hyped. I'm high-fiving Max. I'm so hyped. And then Julian's like, wait. And my face just drops. And he's like, you guys didn't actually win. And we were like, oh my gosh, I don't know if we won. So then we kept going. And then me and Max won again, which was dope. And then Max like sprinted all the way to the Ivy Games booth. And was like, did we actually win the first time? And they're like, yeah, you actually did. So we actually won twice, which is great. An incredible game, Mythic Mischief. I won it now. And then we even had more to do. And we randomly saw Roy and Wendy and Chris Yee and Camilla from the Dice Tower just passing by in the halls. Tim Chewin, who has a great channel. He makes like, I swear, like movie quality production board game videos. And we're just hanging out with him, and he's a super nice guy. And that was awesome. Heard about Sagrada Legacy. That's a thing now. Sounds awesome. And then we got to walk the halls, check out more games. We kind of just looked around. We got to demo Acropolis, which was a super popular game. It's like Cascadia, like these colored tiles. You're building a Greek city. But like legit, the hall is closing. So the clock's ticking. This guy's trying to demo as fast as he can. So I don't think I picked up all the rules because this guy scored like 60 points, Doolin and Max scored 30, and I scored like 10. So it was a lot of fun. I really liked the game, but we were like, man, this guy just like wrecked us. But that was fun, and then we head out of the hall, we go to get dinner. We had the most insane donuts popped right out of the fryer. We had pulled pork sandwiches, and we're talking about all these games, talking about life, and it was just a fun time. And that's really what made the convention for me, was just the people. I only got to go for one day. I had a super tight budget, but the people made it such an incredible experience. Even though I didn't have a ton of time or a ton of money, it was a great time because of the people. They're just the nicest people, so welcoming. And you see them in videos. They're even nicer and cooler and more fun to hang out with in person. Just great people. Speaking of, then we run into Monique and Naveen from Before You Play. And they're like, did you know you can play board games on the field of a football stadium? Nope. So we went and checked that out at Lucas Oil Stadium. NFL, Indianapolis Colts, play there in front of thousands of fans. And we're just on the field. Like at first we were like, is that even legal? Then we went on the field. And people were just playing board games. That was dope. Then Max and Julian met a board game coffee company. Didn't even know that was a thing. Then it's like, we're going to a hotel to play more board games. Because people, after the hall closed, they were playing board games in like every hotel conference center around the area. So we go there, and you get to see person after person playing these cool games. We got to like chill for a little bit, which was good after a long day. Met the people from Board Game Barbecue. They're all the way from Australia. They're the nicest people. Absolutely hilarious. Cracked me up. Just so nice, so sweet. Got a picture with them. Don't know where that is. I didn't take a single picture, but it was just cool. Meeting all these people. And then we're going to play Blood on the Clock Tower. I had to leave, though, so say goodbye to Max and Doolin. Doolin actually passed out on the table, fell asleep. So I said goodbye to Doolin. He did not say goodbye back, but I texted him after. I was like, thank you so much for letting me hang out with you guys. So with all that being said, Gen Con was a success. I would say if you can go to a board game convention, go to one. If you want more of the buying, the hype, just seeing everything and tons of people, go to Gen Con. I've heard other retreats like the Dice Tower ones or smaller ones are better for playing games, but you can do that here too. But there's also like all these cool games you can see. But the best thing about conventions is just people and getting games played. And people are really what make board games so great, just bringing people around the table. And so thank you to all you guys that I got to meet that were just so nice and welcoming to me. It was funny because Max and Doolin would be like, Max and Doolin from Table Knots, and I'd just be like, I'm Andrew, just some random dude. But everyone was so welcoming, and it just meant a lot. It was really cool. I went there by myself. It was my first convention, but it was an absolute blast. So I encourage you guys to go to convention. Maybe you've been to a ton, maybe you haven't been to any. But I want to thank you guys for watching. I'm going to have some more videos coming out soon, different types of videos. With all that being said, I'm going to catch you guys on the flip side.